Oh, wow. Those swamp monsters sure have some serious predators out there in more ways than one.
Choose your character.
Oh boy, as Donald Trump is facing off against a lot of them, and of course the deep state connected intelligence agencies that probably tried to take his life. All of this as now we are being promised a report that's going to be coming out next week with finally some larger answers to the very serious questions that all of us has. As Donald Trump has really made a big declaration just a couple of moments ago that I wanted to play in this particular video just to talk about in hindsight, since, you know, of course, the situation with him and the Ukrainians isn't the best, as the Ukrainians sure do have a good track record at assassinating journalists, politicians, and media figures. We're going to talk about that in the larger context of things, as some people are connecting the dots and trying to say that what we are going to find out potentially is that it was Ukraine that could have been potentially responsible for the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Is that true here? Well, let's examine that, as Donald Trump just announced that he is going to be releasing a report on the larger assassination attempts on his life. As he declared, they could be suspicious. I would say so, since, we had Secret Service, the local police, and so many other failures on that particular day in Butler, Pennsylvania. And then, of course, we had another event that happened here in South Florida where, luckily, security was actually on top of it, surprisingly this time. As, of course, the first time around, there was a lot of mistakes, a lot of accidents, which a lot of people say they really weren't. They were really a part of the larger ploy here, since there were so many underhanded attempts against Donald Trump. First, they censored him on social media. Then they tried to destroy his reputation. Then they searched his home. Then they threatened him with legal proceedings. Then they brought the legal proceedings. Then they charged him with being a convicted felon. Then he was facing 700 years in jail. And every single time that they attacked him, he just got bigger and stronger and more powerful, as myself and other independent media were saying specifically, they're going to try to take out Donald Trump. And then a couple of days just after that, they try to take out Donald Trump. As I bet he has his own questions and understanding of what actually happened here. And he kind of hints at that with this statement that he just made.
It's been 7 months. Why do you think we don't know more about the guy who shot you in the ear?
Yeah.
That's Peter Ducey, by the way, from Fox News, actually asking a good, important question that I would want to know, as the President of the United States still hasn't been given any legitimate answers here.
Oh, well, and the second one with all of his cell phones. So I want to find the answers. I've told them. In fact, today I said, I want to find, we can no longer blame Biden for that one. He should have released that a long time ago. So they are giving me a report next week sometime, and I do believe I'll be releasing. I want to release the report. A lot of people have asked that question. You had one who had 3 apps, 2 of which were foreign, supposedly, and who has the biggest white shoe law firm in Pennsylvania, even though they don't live in necessarily a white shoe area. What's that all about? His law, the law firm. The other one had 7 or 6 cell phones, and I don't have 6 cell phones. And why would somebody have 6 cell phones? So we're going to be...
He's bringing up specifically Ryan Ruth here, the man connected to Ukraine that also tried to take shots at Donald Trump, but luckily was fired upon first by Secret Service that actually caught him in the grass, laying down in a place that he should have never been in the first place. Now, what Donald Trump is bringing up here, all these little tidbits that he's bringing up, specifically with the law firm now, representing the family with the first assassin in Butler, Pennsylvania, that also was seen on the phone, by the way, right before carrying out this larger action, and still somehow allowed to take multiple shots at the President of the United States when there was witnesses, people on the ground screaming, "Hey, there's a guy on the roof with the frickin' rifle," as he was literally on the police and Secret Service command headquarters, right on top of it. And for some reason, still, they never got Trump off of the stage. There's so many glaring questions because you would say, hey, there's a disturbance. Hey, there's something going on here. Hey, there's a guy here with a rifle. Secret Service saw him, allowed him to take a shot. And you would think at any moment, any time, in that whole mix-up, in this whole larger scandal, Secret Service would just take him off of the stage. Nope. They kept Donald Trump on that stage, which I think was absolutely freaking ridiculous. And then they allowed him to stand up. They allowed him to address the crowd. They allowed him to, of course, say, fight, fight, fight to everybody. That absolutely made no sense at all. And when we're looking at these particular events, I think we have to look at them in the larger hindsight of, holy cow, this was extremely close. This is something that was almost changing the entire political landscape of this country. And a lot of people do not understand just how vastly close we came towards the total upending of a civil society that would propel us towards not just total chaos, but war with foreign countries that probably would have been blamed. And we've seen the corporate media trying to blame the Iranians here. I wonder if there's going to be some kind of psyop, some kind of dirty intel play to try to still carry out that larger agenda. Will Donald Trump believe it? That's a larger question that, of course, I want to talk to about. And before even talking about the assassination history of the Ukrainians, I wanted to talk about Unfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? We're doing self-defense classes March 16th here in Southern Florida just for members. A super, really fun, incredible experience, once in a lifetime type of experience that I take a lot of joy in. I have a lot of fun doing. You will have a lot of fun doing it too. I just started to do a new perk for everyone where you guys get to ask questions, and I'm going to answer those questions live on air. If you want to ask me a question, you could ask it anytime just by simply going to our Telegram channel and either recording a video or recording some audio. I will play that audio. I will play that video recording here on this particular broadcast, and then we will have a one-on-one communication like we do, because we usually text on the Telegram channel just with me and the members. But now, I want you guys to be a part of the show. If you guys want something to highlight, if you guys want to start up a conversation, if you want me to do a video on something, you get to do that right now, as well as having some really cool exclusive videos all on LukeUnfiltered.com. The link is in the description. Click on it right now. You go to the website, whatever you could afford. I know times are tough, but if you're doing okay, sign up for the $15 one. You really get all the advantages and all the benefits here. It's about 50 cents per month. You sign up for $8, it's like 20 cents. 20 cents. Like, come on. It's absolutely nothing, but it means the world to us. The more you invest in us, the more we're going to do for you. I'm going to be doing on-the-ground reporting. I'm going to be traveling. I need your help, especially getting an editor, especially being able to afford airplane tickets, hotels. All that stuff costs a lot of money. Your support, greatly appreciated, and means the world to us. As of course, let's continue on with these statements from Donald Trump, which I think are very key, very important, as I think we're either going to have a big psyop next week and a big kind of propulsion and push towards war with Iran, or we're going to be finding out that some of our close friends, allies, and maybe even people within our own government were responsible for trying to extinguish and take the life of Donald Trump.
Be releasing a report on that soon, Peter.
But based on what you're saying right there, the lack of information and the data points that you just gave, does that make you think that there's some part of that there's some bigger?
It could be. Well, it makes other people think that. It makes me think it a little bit too. I say, when you have 3 apps and 2 of them are foreign, and you had an FBI that wouldn't report on it, they didn't want to say why.
The FBI also covered up information to Congress that was trying to investigate the assassination attempts, by the way. They were specifically denying information to investigators, by the way, showing their hand here, which a lot of people say, it kind of implicates them here a little bit here.
I would say that could be suspicious. And then on the second assassin, you had, and by the way, I have to tell you, Secret Service did a great job on that by spotting him. But on the second one, he had 6 cell phones. That's a lot of cell phones. And a couple of them had some strange markings on them. So, yeah, I want to find out, and I would be willing to release it. I mean, maybe there's a reason that we shouldn't, so I don't want to get too far ahead of my skis, but yeah, I would be very willing to release that. I'd like to see it. I want to see it myself. Not only you, I want to see that one myself.
Yeah, he brought up some very important points here, as there's still a lot of questions about the communication devices, the encryption devices. As we know, the intel agencies do have a lot of capabilities, specifically when it comes to breaking encryption and data harvesting and collecting almost every single form of communication that they track, trace, and database personally themselves. And they came forward and said, we just can't find out what's in these phones. We have no idea. And when you're able to find out who these assassins were talking to, you're able to see who the handlers were. You're able to see who was pulling the strings here. You're able to see here who is organizing all of this, because the likelihood of a 20-year-old doing this in Pennsylvania, the likelihood of the guy in South Florida, Ryan Ruth, with the 6 cell phones doing it on his own, I don't think is that likely, even though that is the overall prevailing theory. As it's important to note here, Trump's assassination attempt changed him. It changed something in him, and it made him a different political juggernaut that we have never seen before. 2016, the way he was running the executive office is nothing compared to how he is running it right now. As, again, shady activity, specifically with the body just being burnt, just being destroyed. No forensic data, no larger autopsy, just burnt, destroyed, boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Ryan Ruth, the second assassin, by the way, also someone who was a fanatic about Ukraine, was in Ukraine, and there's even a person that was seen with Ryan Ruth that was given the Medal of Freedom by Joe Biden. He was also seen with Zelensky before, and a lot of people are saying that this man could potentially be connected to all of this, Jose Andreas. Now, other than just some photos here, we don't have any kind of concrete evidence pointing to any kind of larger conspiracy here, other than this man being photographed with the key individuals that were a part of this larger kind of connection that people are bringing together. Now, we have Jake Broa, who is another media personality, and he has come out and is saying that Ryan Ruth was actually rejected from serving in the Foreign Legion in Ukraine. He was kicked out of the country after he was pretending to be a recruiter for the Foreign Legion, and according to some sources, he was trying to recruit foreign fighters to go to Ukraine, and he was orchestrating and dealing with foreign passports in a way in order to conduct that particular business. Now, how do you do that without the CIA kind of watching you or tracking you, as the CIA is very intricately involved with the Ukrainian war? They've been on the ground setting up the battle plans ever since 2014. And the CIA intel agencies have been playing a very key, crucial role when it comes to training and assisting the Ukrainians here that have used assassinations as part of their larger war tactic. So the Ukrainians are pretty good at assassinating people. Just a couple weeks ago, they assassinated a senior Russian general that was warning about the biological weapons facilities in Ukraine, and they took his life at his home in Moscow with a scooter that had an improvised explosive device. There was a blogger that was pro-Russia, and he, during a meet and greet, during one of his events, was given a statue of himself that also had explosives in it that cost him his life. There's another story that just came out of a Russian drone pilot that used a virtual reality set that also had explosives on it in another weird kind of crazy assassination attempt that the New York Post called a Mossad playbook that was utilized here. There was also the car bomb that took the life of media personality Daria Dugin, the daughter of Russian nationalist Alexander Dugin, that U.S. officials directly blamed on the Ukrainians. And there's event after event. There's other generals. There's another pro-Russian Ukrainian that had his life taken in Moscow in a blast. And this is why a lot of people are saying, hey, it could be the possibility that Ryan Ruth, and again, this is very loose connections. I'm not saying that we have any kind of empirical evidence or proof here, but this is the scuttlebutt. This is the kind of hearsay that's going around right now saying, hey, the Ukrainians saw the writing on the wall. They saw J.D. Vance as Trump's VP pick. They understood that they were going to have a very tough time, and they weren't going to get the concessions that they would have gotten if it was Kamala Harris that was in the presidential Oval Office, or Joe Biden, or the old regime that essentially just gave them everything they wanted to without even accounting for it. And, in a life or death kind of situation, you're dealing with a wartime decision that sometimes is very difficult to make here. And some would argue the Ukrainians have seen themselves as a larger kind of horrible position where they had to decide something to decide their future faith that could have been saved here by essentially taking out Donald Trump. Now, did they do it? I'm not saying they did. I'm saying that's the kind of scuttlebutt. That's the rumors that some people are connecting the dots on. That, of course, other than the circumstantial evidence, there is no direct proof or evidence of. But some people are entertaining those political theories, as I would still argue that without any kind of definitive answers here, Trump's life is still in danger, as there are multiple threats against his life. And it's important to note here, the people who really kind of orchestrated and organized this, especially if there was other people involved here, they're still on the loose here, as it's fair to assume here. A lot of people are kind of saying it themselves, just like what happened with RFK, MLK, JFK. A lot of people are saying it themselves. It was probably criminal elements within our intel community that worked for the private sector, that was a part of the military-industrial complex, that understood if we don't take him out, he's going to take us out. And it looks like Donald Trump is firing some CIA officials. It looks like he is revoking security clearances, especially for all the people a part of the intel agencies that lied to the whole world about the Russian collusion hoax, which was also a very convenient hoax that set up the groundwork for this larger perpetual war that some people want us in to forever be with Russia. Donald Trump is changing all of that. He's upending all of that. He's recalling all of that. He's saying enough is enough. The military-industrial complex got a lot here. They got a lot of pound of flesh. They got a lot of sacrifice here. So many people have lost their lives. And I think one too many people have already. The war needs to end. What's going to be happening with this report? Well, this report is probably going to be put together by the people that probably were a part of everything. As again, we're left to getting answers from the intel agencies. As a lot of people say, the intel agencies are probably responsible here. As I would absolutely worry that the intel agencies might have an ace up their sleeve, and they might geopolitically position Donald Trump and try to fake news him and lie to him with another foreign country that they conveniently want to go to war with, specifically trying to blame them for these larger attacks. And again, anything is plausible here, specifically when it comes even to the original theory of the Iranians being responsible here. But first of all, we don't know. The fact that we had a cover-up right afterwards, the fact that the corporate media, social media, all at once, right after the assassination attempts, either just totally obfuscated what happened, didn't talk about the larger ramifications, and continued to attack Trump, shows us that they were probably taking orders. Now, who has the power to order around the corporate media, to change the social media algorithms? Who has the power to have the Secret Service kind of stand down and not do their job in Butler, Pennsylvania? Who has the power? I don't know about you, but it's probably not the Iranians. It's probably also not the Ukrainians. It's probably someone else that is aiding and abetting it. As, of course, we have to understand here, these Ukrainian assassination plots, lots of them, majority of them, carried out with direct U.S. CIA assistance. Who's responsible here? I have my guess. Who do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. Sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com. Truly, we need your help. It means a lot to us. If you've been watching our work for 21 years, this is the time you give us 20 cents a day. It means the world to us. And truly, I am promising to work my butt off for you. Right, Atlas? Come here. Over here. Wrong couch. Put it over. Up. There you go. Subscribe now. LukeUnfiltered.com. See, Atlas even told you that, right, Atlas? Good job. All right. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here exclusively on youtube.com/WeAreChange.